industry in A&R, in press, in label management for various labels in the UK and in Ireland, also for a couple of publishing companies as well. Besides writing for the Irish Times, I also run a thing called the Choice Music Prize, which is like an Irish Album of the Year prize, and I also do a radio show. And I suppose the real reason I'm here is just to kind of talk about the Irish market and how fans from elsewhere can access the Irish market and what use it is to access the Irish market. Earlier on, I think as Mark was saying, that talking about Brazil being a very big country and the United States being a very big country. Well, Ireland's a tiny country. It's a population of 5 million. It sits off the western coast of Europe. It's just a very small country. The last 10 years, 15 years, we went through a big boom. But I suppose from a musical point of view, the two important things about Ireland are, one is a band called U2, and second is that it's the biggest live concert-going country in Europe per head of population. Basically, with U2 created this professional music industry in Ireland. Before U2 came along, there wasn't really an Irish music industry. We had traditional music, we had folk music, we had show bands. We didn't have a professional rock or pop industry. No one came to Ireland looking for new rock and pop acts. After U2, A&R men from all the major labels came to Ireland and they signed the next big thing. So that was the start, I suppose, of a proper rock and pop industry in Ireland. That would be in the late 1980s. Most of the bands were signed to major labels. Most of the Irish bands were dropped after a couple of years because, one, they weren't good enough, and two, the major labels didn't know what to do with them. So since then, what's happened with the domestic industry is it's very independent. We have independent labels, we have independent distributors, and that the bulk of Irish bands will go through those. In terms of the live music thing, I mean, this is something which goes back, I don't know, decades. Irish audiences will always go and see bands live before they buy the band's record. That has always been the way it's operated in Ireland. We go and see what the band look like live, and then we'll go out and see what they're like. It still applies today, even to big megastars. I'll give you an example. A couple of months ago, Bruce Springsteen played in Ireland. He played 3 sold-out shows, played to 120,000 people. Okay, people have bought his record before, but the week after he was in Ireland, all these records went back into the Irish top 20. It still applies that once we see the band live, once we see that the band are really, really good live, we'll then go out and buy the record. Just a couple of examples. I'm kind of pressed, I know we haven't got much time, but I'm just going to straight through a couple of examples of how basically the Irish market can work for bands from overseas. We'll start with there's 3 examples I want to give you, and they relate to, one, how a band can use Ireland if they're on a conventional touring circuit. 2, how a band can use Ireland if they're getting no traction anywhere else as a springboard to success in Europe and elsewhere. And 3, what happens when an act from abroad moves to Ireland. The first example of an act is an act who used Ireland on the conventional touring circuit. And that's a band you know, they sold 12 million copies in the United States. It's the second biggest album